I'd like to tell you as I remember what Fishtail has really been like the years I've been here. It's a wonderful place to live, and everybody takes care of you and watches out for you and makes sure that you are part of the activities here. You have no privacy. If you don't know what you're doing when you get up in the morning, don't worry about it. In a small town, your neighbors can tell you what you're doing.
Coming into Fishtail is a real adventure. You see the mountains looming ahead, the Beartooth Mountains, and it's absolutely gorgeous countryside. And you get close to Fishtail, and the speed limit drops from 70 miles an hour to 25 miles an hour. And you think, what in the world? Well, we've come to the town of Fishtail. The highway goes right through the middle of this little town. But you get to a sharp turn at the Cowboy Bar. You make that turn. Up ahead is a vacant lot, old-fashioned gas pumps, an abandoned house, and a grocery store. Then we make a left-hand turn down the driveway and we stop. And the people that have never been there before say, well, where are we? We say, well, this is it. This is our piece of heaven.
Fishtail is huge in area, but town is very, very small.
Fishtail maybe has 35 people in it. I've been there when there were 5 children enrolled in the school. There were more faculty people than there were students.
I say, how did you find out about Fishtail? I find that very interesting because it's really a small town. And they always tell me how they found out about it. And I tell them, when you're here, you have to be very, very careful. And they go, really? Bears? Wolves? I go, no, because once you're here, you may not want to go home.
When we moved to Florida, we had the only 2 grandchildren at that time. And my parents were in Montana. And they were just distraught that we were moving across country. So I said to my dad one day, well, if you can find a little piece of property on a creek, let us know, and maybe we can get it to always come back to Montana. They decided they'd build a little, not even 700-foot cabin, just enough for the weekend. It took them about 2 years to get it completed, but they spent so much time in that little town that they grew to love the people that helped them. And when my dad retired, he said to my mother, what about selling the house in Billings and moving to Fishtail? The lure worked. And we went every summer in Fishtail, Montana.
Bill and I bought the store in 2000. And Bill and I had never been in retail, but we didn't want it to go away. The people that owned it were having trouble. They were having trouble keeping it going. They wanted to change it. And we knew that it was historical because it's been here since 1900. So they came and knocked on the door one day and said, would you like to buy the store? And we go, no. But we don't want it to go away. And they said, well, we're going to change it into something. We said, no, you can't do that. So Bill and I talked it over, and we thought, we're not going anywhere. Why not buy it? So we bought ourselves a job after we'd been retired about 6 years.
For us and our children, it was more than 50 years ago that we first saw it. Old tin roof on it. It's got a lot of old pictures, an old potbelly stove from soup to nuts. It had pots and pans, rain boots, overalls, and it had groceries, all right. But the best thing for my grandchildren, I think, is being able to go over to the store and not have any money in your pocket. They'd say, well, I'm going over to the store. And I said, do you have money? No, but we'll just charge it to Grandma's charge account. I mean, you don't see that anymore in the grocery store. Oh, just put it on my bill.
I think it's our job as the owner and people that work there to support the community. And that's what it's always done. I think that we try and help people. That's the wonderful thing about living here, is that everybody helps everybody when they can, even if we don't like them, because that's what you're meant to do. That's what you're supposed to do. It's a mutual admiration society, I guess you could say.
During the last flood, it was very hard to get supplies into the area because of the bridges that had washed out, but she was able to get things here that were needed for emergencies.
This flood that we had, which was, they have determined, I think, a 500-year flood, affected everybody from Absarki all the way through Nye, which is 30 miles from here.
I got there the 1st of June. It was chilly when I got there, but within 2 weeks it had warmed up significantly. And they knew that if it stayed warm, that this heavy snowpack in the mountains was just about to cut loose. And it did.
And we were told at the time that the dam was over, was really high, and they were going to have to let water out, which meant we were going to be flooded.
So the day wore on, and people were just beside themselves. Farmers had to get cattle, horses, because we're not natives to the area. We just sort of wandered around wondering what was going to happen to us. But a neighbor who lives on one of the rivers, she came over and she said, "We've got to go."
And the gentleman that was in charge of Mystic Lake did a wonderful job. He started letting water out a little at a time. We didn't get flooded. It was all because of him.
But we were very lucky because in the meantime, the 3 rivers were just tearing up the countryside.
People lost their houses. You would not believe some of the things that were in the river: refrigerators, beds, barbecues. It was just horrendous. But we all know here, when you live by the water, sometimes you have to die by the water. So you have to be ready.
It brought out the goodness of everybody. And I think humanity is just good in a crisis. And it certainly showed in Fishtail.
Yeah, it's a feeling of, we all need each other in order to survive. And the store is kind of a hub like that. Again, people here, we've had lots of fundraisers to help raise money for people who lost their homes.
We have an activity in June called Fishtail Family Fun Day, where we have people can have kind of a garage sale type attitude, and we have a parade. It's a 2-mile parade in a 1-block town, and it's very fun.
I think probably the best thing that's ever happened was when we had the flood this year. It was really close to when Fishtail Family Fun Day was going to be. And there were a lot of people who didn't think we should do it. But we thought it would be a time when the community could get together. And you couldn't come the normal way, which is the easy way, because the bridge was out. So everybody that came had to go all the way around. And this shows just kind of what people in Montana are like. Because that day we made more money than we've ever made before. And there were people from all over that came and said, "We heard that you were having Fishtail Family Fun Day, and we came to support you."
When you turn off the interstate and come up what I call the canyon, it's along the river to get to Fishtail, you can always feel the peace and the quiet. I am a spiritual nun, and we talk a lot about the thin place, and this is truly a thin place.
Is it smaller than all the places I've lived in before? Yeah, dinky. But in heart, it's huge as far as that goes, wherever I've lived before. And yeah, so it's small town America.
My hope for Fishtail is that we don't lose the Montana tradition of taking care of each other.
I would not change a thing because it's just such a small community, but I know it's going to change. For today, it's perfect. It's our piece of heaven.